A dog wags its tail when it's happy. A cat wags its tail when it's about to lose its mind. Same body part, same motion, two completely opposite meanings. And somewhere in that one tiny detail is basically the entire explanation for why cats and dogs have a reputation for hating each other that's older than most human languages. But here's the thing that makes this genuinely fascinating. Cats and dogs aren't actually wired with some deep, ancient, hard-coded hatred for one another. They aren't natural enemies the way a mongoose and a cobra evolved as direct evolutionary rivals. In reality, they come from completely different evolutionary lineages, different continents of origin, and different social structures. But most importantly, they have completely different systems of body language. They essentially walk into every interaction speaking two mutually unintelligible languages, using almost identical body parts to say wildly different things. It's less like ancient enemies, and more like two tourists who don't speak a word of each other's language, both gesturing wildly. Except one gesture means hello to the dog, and get out of my face to the cat. Let's start with the tail, because it is the ultimate entry point into this translation crisis. For dogs, a wagging tail generally signals friendliness, excitement, or a desire to engage. Now, dogs do have nuances. The speed, height, and stiffness of that wag can change the meaning. A loose, wide wag is pure joy, while a stiff, fast wag means they are highly alert and ready to react. But broadly speaking, dogs associate tail movement with positive social engagement. Cats operate on almost the exact opposite system. A slowly swishing or twitching cat tail signals irritation, intense focus, or mounting frustration. It is the universal feline warning sign that precedes a swat, a hiss, or a full-blown tactical retreat. So picture the scene: an enthusiastic dog spots a cat. The dog's brain, running on its default language, sees the cat's swishing tail and interprets it as a friendly invitation to come closer. Meanwhile, the cat is standing there broadcasting in crystal-clear feline. Back off. I am one more step away from violence. The dog doesn't speak that dialect, it moves in. The cat reads this approach as a direct, aggressive escalation of a warning that was just ignored. And just like that, you have a fight that started entirely because of a translation error. And this mismatched body language goes way deeper than tails. Take direct eye contact. In dog communication, a prolonged, unblinking stare from an unfamiliar dog is a direct challenge or a threat. Because of this, dogs frequently look away to signal non-aggression and politeness. Cats use eye contact very differently. Yes, a hard, unblinking stare from an unfamiliar cat is also a threat, but the triggers and thresholds are different. More importantly, when a cat looks at a trusted companion and slowly blinks, it is a sign of deep comfort and affection, the feline equivalent of a warm hug. Because both species use staring as a threat in some contexts, but have completely different rules for when, how long, and why they look at each other, those crucial first few seconds of a new interaction are constantly misread. And in the animal world, those first few seconds are exactly when misreads matter most. But it's not just a language barrier, it's a clash of fundamental social structures. Dogs descend from wolves, which evolved in highly cooperative, hierarchical pack structures. Their entire survival depended on group living, shared resources, and constant social negotiation. This baked a massive cooperative instinct directly into dog behavior. Dogs are biologically wired to seek out group interaction, establish social bonds, and actively engage with whatever creature is nearby, whether that creature wants them to or not. Cats, on the other hand, descend from largely solitary wildcats. They hunted alone, defended individual territories, and never developed a cooperative pack framework. Because of this, cats default to an independent, protective mindset. An unfamiliar animal entering a cat's personal space isn't a potential new friend. It's a territorial intrusion that requires immediate evaluation, caution, or active defense. So, you have one species biologically primed to approach and investigate, and another biologically primed to defend its space first and ask questions later. Put them in the same room, and conflict isn't an anomaly, it's the expected outcome. And beneath this social mismatch lies a much more primal layer, the predator-prey overlap. Cats are predators, but because of their size, they are also frequently prey for larger animals. This means a cat's nervous system is hardwired with an incredible amount of caution and fast-trigger defensive reactivity. Sudden movements, fast approaches, and loud noises instantly trigger their fight-or-flight response. Now look at dogs. Especially larger or more energetic breeds, dogs naturally approach new things with fast, bounding, excited movements. To a cat's nervous system, this doesn't look like a happy greeting. It looks like a fast-approaching predator. The cat's survival instinct kicks in, and it bolts. And this triggers a tragic feedback loop. Dogs descend from animals that hunted cooperatively by chasing down fleeing targets. When the cat runs, it instantly triggers the dog's deeply rooted chase instinct. Suddenly, a simple social misunderstanding escalates into a high-stakes predator-prey chase, even though neither animal started the interaction with any hostile intent. This is also why their play styles are so incompatible. Dog play is highly physical, chasing, body slamming, mouth wrestling, and barking. Cat play is quiet, focused on stalking, pouncing, and short, controlled bursts of energy. When a dog tries to play with a cat using its normal style, it looks like a violent assault to the cat. Add in the size and power dynamic, and the stakes get even higher. Even a small dog usually outweighs a cat. Because of this asymmetry, a threatened cat won't try to win a prolonged physical fight it would likely lose. Instead, it relies on defensive aggression as a calculated last resort, using fast, loud, explosive bursts of claws and hisses to convince the larger dog that a fight isn't worth the trouble. That's why cat and dog conflicts look so shockingly dramatic. The cat's entire strategy is to make the encounter as unpleasant as possible, as fast as possible, to force a retreat. Territoriality and vocalizations compound the stress. Cats are incredibly sensitive about their indoor spaces, resting spots, food, and litter boxes. Dropping a fast-moving dog into that space adds a massive baseline of stress. Then there's the noise. A dog's loud, excited barking can sound like pure aggression to a cat, driving its anxiety through the roof, even if the dog is just expressing excitement. Even their evolutionary timelines are completely out of sync. Dogs were domesticated tens of thousands of years earlier than cats, specifically bred by humans for traits like cooperation, trainability, and close interspecies bonding. Cats, by contrast, were domesticated much more recently and loosely. They essentially domesticated themselves by hanging around human settlements to hunt rodents. Because humans didn't actively breed them for cooperative group behavior, cats retained much more of their independent, wild ancestor instincts. Of course, we can't lump all cats and dogs into single categories. Breed and individual personality play a massive role. Dog breeds with high prey drives, like terriers bred to hunt vermin, struggle far more with cats than breeds selected for a calm temperament. And some cats are naturally bold and confident, while others are easily stressed. But despite all these biological mismatches, there is a silver lining that completely changes the natural enemy's narrative: early socialization. When puppies and kittens are raised together during critical developmental windows, they are incredibly capable of learning each other's body language. They essentially patch their default communication software. They learn that a dog's wagging tail means play, and a cat's swishing tail means give me space. This is why professional animal behaviorists use highly specific introduction techniques. They use gradual, controlled exposure, scent swapping before visual contact, and supervised interactions while keeping the environment quiet. This directly targets the biological trigger points, preventing the predator-prey loop from ever starting and allowing both animals to safely learn each other's signals. This proves that cats and dogs aren't actually hardwired to hate each other. The conflict isn't destiny, it's just a starting condition. And this dynamic isn't even unique to cats and dogs. It happens whenever two species with different evolved communication systems are forced to interact. We just see it most with cats and dogs because they are the two species sharing millions of living rooms across the planet. So when you see those heartwarming photos of a cat and dog curled up together, sleeping peacefully, you aren't just looking at a cute moment. You are looking at a genuine miracle of translation. You are looking at two completely different species that manage to bridge an immense biological gap through patience, repetition, and shared experience. They didn't start speaking the same language. They just learned how to understand each other anyway. If you have a cat and a dog at home, how did their first meeting go? Did they suffer from a translation error, or did they immediately start figuring each other out? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden science of the animal kingdom.